Respawn have put a harpoon in their launcher and set sails for the high sea, seeking north of £100 for a time-limited skin. Yes, I can think of no more contemporary topic. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another report. Yup, it's an unfortunate one. We have a well-regarded game dipping its hand deep into the money pot, deep to the point of upsetting its users. First though, we've heard this before, so I'll keep it short, and basically looking through analytics, YouTube seems to not being super kind to independent news. They seem to be more about subscriptions and bell ring, as evidenced by a new thing they gave us. So doing those things and liking really helps us out. It's really helped us out over the last week or two, and I really appreciate everyone helping there. So yeah, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that. But with that, let's get into the video. First, we've got to start with the context. Legends has had a bit of a mixed time. It came out really strong out of the gate with an extremely successful influencer marketing campaign, mainly through Twitch, and a growth curve that trumped Fortnite's initially, something that was heartening to see from a studio like Respawn, and thankfully it was based off the back of the game having excellent design. But not all was ideal. The game was lacking modes. It was a minimum viable product, an MVP. That's pretty clearly what it was. One of the things that many thought, though, was, how are they actually going to make money from this? After all, the cosmetic monetization was rather weak indeed. It was overpriced, and it also did not look that good. Certainly, it did not hold a candle to the skins in other games. Regardless, though, Apex Legends did well financially, breaking in $93 million in its first month of life, and continually performing pretty well by EA's earnings calls. However, that meteoric growth was clearly slowing as the game dwindled in its Twitch viewership. Apex launched as an MVP, and many people thought that the Season 1 Battle Pass would fix this. But it really didn't. It was regarded as a letdown. The rewards were there, but they weren't really that exciting, and it didn't really keep people engaged. It didn't do enough to get the community back. And that's something that's relevant given the competition with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds running regular events like the alternate game modes, and Epic pushing hard for constant seasonal updates, albeit off the back of seemingly quite grueling developer crunch. Things were set for a change with Season 2, a season that launched off the back of a very successful in-game event. Really, all was going well. The Battle Pass for Season 2 had better rewards, the challenges were more attainable and less arbitrary, the new skins were quite a bit better, and the new character was pretty darn impactful. Things seemed to be on the up, but unfortunately, that is where today's story comes in. So, the new event, Iron Crown Collection, has been launched to coincide with the game's new solo queue feature, something that I think is quite good to see in the game, although I'm a bit skeptical of it because of the game's hero design. But still, it's good to have more features in the game. Now, of course, being an event in a free-to-play game, cosmetics are a large part of it. And events like this really are extremely important revenue generators for games in this genre, so that's nothing new. But what's pretty wild is how Respawn have implemented this one, and the incredible reach for whales. So, this event adds in a new section to the in-game shop called the Iron Crown Shop. You can purchase items here using Iron Crowns, which are the new event currency. Now, this event comes with challenges, 2 of which give you Iron Crowns, but that's not really the main thing here, because this event also has a new type of loot box. Now, 2 of these event loot boxes are given to you by completing in-game challenges. So what do these loot boxes give you? Well, the event adds 24 new legendary/rare items, with each loot box giving you one of them, and there is dupe protection. You cannot get dupes. But here's the thing, past those 2 freebies, well, that's where things get a lot worse. Why? Well, because you need all 24 of them. Why? Well, we'll get to that. So, you get 2 from your free challenge crates, and then you need the other 22 crates. Now, the loot crates in question can be purchased using coins, the game's premium currency. They cost a whopping 700 coins each, and you need 22 of them, so that's 15,400 coins. When you go to the Apex store, you actually see that there is not a bundle that contains that many coins. You've got to purchase the 11,500 coin bundle for £79.99, and then purchase the 4,350 bundle for £31.99. So that's about £120 worth of coins to get all those items, and that's what, $145, $150? Okay, so the potential to spend loads of money in loot boxes, that is something that we know, it's happened before. So why do people actually want those items? What's going on here? What's the big problem? Well, this is the nasty part of the scheme, the bloodhound heirloom. So the heirloom sets in this game are the most top-end cosmetic. There's only one other in the game for Wraith. Now, this bloodhound heirloom set is super desirable because of that, especially for people who main that character. And this is where we have a problem. So the bloodhound heirloom set is on the in-game store, and it costs 3,500 Apex coins. But it only appears in the store if you've unlocked all 24 event legendaries and rares. And that means that yes, you do need to purchase those crates just to unlock the option of spending a further 3,500 coins on the Bloodhound heirloom. So all in, you're looking at 18,900 Apex coins. That means that you basically need to purchase 2 of the most expensive coin bundle. And you'd better do it soon because it gets even more silly. The event lasts for a short time only. The Bloodhound heirloom set is only available on that store while the event is on. After the event, the heirloom enters the regular loot pool. Now, heirlooms have an extremely low drop rate, under 1%, with EA saying that you're guaranteed an heirloom for every 500 loot boxes that you open. Now, of course, 500 regular Apex loot boxes purchased with coins, that's like over £300. It's a lot of money. But the point is, they're extremely rare. And outside of this event period, the only way you can guarantee it is through getting 500 boxes. So it really is just pressuring people to drop all of that money to get the heirloom now. So overall, what are they doing here? Well, they have an RNG loot box mechanic. They limit how many of those loot boxes can be earned in-game, quite unlike, say, the Overwatch way of doing things with their event loot boxes. They then locked the most desirable cosmetics behind owning all 24 event rares and legendaries, making it, by default, pretty darn expensive. And while it only, technically only costs 3,500 coins, which is still like £32 the price of a full game, you can clearly see that, in effect, it costs north of £150. This is a clear psychological play. First, it's an event, so the fear of missing out is playing in here. The next point is one that won't impact most players, but it will impact some, those who the industry would refer to as whales. It appears to one's desire to be a rational actor. You see, if you're set on getting the Bloodhound skin, then yeah, the best way to do that is to drop 150 odd pounds in this event. It sure as hell is cheaper than buying regular loot boxes for the game, and it's not like the game's scrap system even lets you get the heirlooms or is worth a damn because they give you so little free currency. Plus, if you want that Bloodhound heirloom, well, if it was to go in the normal loot pool with its really tiny drop rate, yeah, if you do get your 500 loot crate pity free heirloom, there's a chance it could be Wraith, and that might not be the one that you want. So if you want Bloodhound, everything points towards dropping money on this event. Now, sure, this is above board, and it's clear, it's obvious what they're doing here, and I think it's pretty clear why they've received such backlash. It's rare for a play on whales to be this transparent. What's worse is how much this goes against Respawn Entertainment's company image. Titanfall 1 and 2 were great games. They were critically well received, especially Titanfall 2. Apex Legends was a surprise. It was a kind of underdog story. A lot of people wanted to see a more core shooter do well in the face of Fortnite. It did so much right. It had loads of really smart design accommodations like its pinging system. It inspired a lot of delight with players. Then Respawn talked about being fair with microtransactions, though it is worth noting that they were both rubbish and overpriced at launch. Respawn had been pretty decent with community management, though. They were pretty open about the Season 1 failings after the fact, and they made really good advances with Season 2. But in fostering that goodwill, they create an informal contract, one of expectations, where the customers feel like they're on the same page. They feel like they're being respected by the company. Hell, I mean, we've all seen the stories about how Respawn don't crunch their staff. And because of that, they really do seem like the good guys. And what do we see here? We see something that, in a way, violates that trust. It violates that image. Not only because it's expensive, that's a factor, of course, but more so the transparency of their whaling attempt. People would laugh at a £150 skin. They'd be angry over how silly it is, but the sort of way they've tried to very obviously hide it behind, layers and layers of other purchases, that just feels sneaky. That's what Respawn have done here, and it's not went well for them. And it really is quite the reach, because if you look at, say, Fortnite, yeah, their skins are really quite expensive indeed, but they at least are honest. I will give them that. They are honest about their skins. They're reasonable microtransactions in a game that is free. So this is a clear loss for Respawn Entertainment for, well, obvious reasons, I think. But it brings up interesting points, such as how do developers pay for games? Apex is a free-to-play game, so it can get away with a lot more. But as we saw on the Tuesday Roundup episode, this is a common problem, with the Killing Floor 2 development team attempting to bolster their post-launch revenue by adding in the DLC weapons, and that was met with an extremely mixed opinion. I think Warframe is a very interesting one here. I remember that in the past they basically said they implemented kind of like a random skin loot box mechanic, and they saw players engaging in gambling-like behavior. just compulsively engaging with it. What was their reaction to this? Well, they decided they wanted no part in it, and they disabled the feature. Now, I don't know if Warframe have made missteps since, but I think that's the type of self-reflection and responsibility that we need in the industry. There's then also the Path of Exile situation, where, from what I understand, they've been pretty reasonable and open with their community about how they fund their development. Now, from my perspective, well, within a year, I'm going to be asking you for money to purchase a game that we are developing, and for me, that means that it's all about what I am willing to provide you in return for your money. And I think that's something that's got to be really transparent. The value has to be really clear for the customer. The sales tactics can be, smart. You can do a sale, whatever. That's all fine. But, they shouldn't take the piss. They shouldn't be anything like the augment your pre-order, if you ever remember that debacle. What sort of company you are, well, I think a lot of that's about what you're willing to sell, what value you're willing to provide in terms for money. And I've got to be real, if you are willing to psychologically cajole people into spending that much money on an heirloom, and you're going to use FOMO in the way that you've done it with the event, what's the value in that? That really looks bad on Respawn. And if I think to some other games like, say, Heroes of the Storm, well, they were skins that were pretty expensive, but I kind of understood them. Sure, they were pricey, but they were high effort. They were rethemes of characters. They were really good. They were good bits of work, and it is a free-to-play game. They even had, there was the new models, new spell effects. That seemed pretty above board. I remember my time playing Smite as well, with its ultimate god pack, giving you all the playable gods for a very fair price, and then the skins in the game being, again, totally above board and reasonable. Again, I've got no idea if they've messed up since, if Heroes of the Storm has messed up since, but I think those are really good examples that contrast what we've seen with Apex Legends today. I think it's really sad to see them go in that direction, being real with you. It's just so darn unfortunate. And, you just see the company squeezing harder and harder and harder, trying to work out. And I suppose it's kind of funny looking at Apex with their art style and being a first-person game. Man, they just seem to be reaching a lot with some of their cosmetics, and it's all a bit silly. Anyway, let me know what you think about this story down below, and let me know, this is the thing I really want to know. What is a buy-to-play game that has had, a way for you to put money into it after launch, where the developers have been updating it, where you feel like it's worked out really well? And I'd also want to know, what is a free-to-play game that you feel has treated you well, where you actually have engaged in the microtransactions? For me, that was purchasing the Smite Ultimate Gods pack way back in the day, playing, hundreds, maybe, well, I don't know, a lot of Smite anyway, and I did purchase 1 or 2 skins because they were the characters that I liked, and I felt happy supporting the developers because I enjoyed the game's updates, and I felt like I was being respected. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that. Let me know down below. Thank you very much for watching this video, and with that, I will see you next time.